Hello students, welcome to today's video lesson. Today, we shall discuss the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson. The general tone of this poem is grief and nostalgia. I'm sure all of you have clicked photos of something or someone using your phones or cameras. Why do we click photos? Photographs help to capture memories. In a world where time does not wait for anyone and moments are fleeting past at a very fast pace, a photograph helps to capture moments which are precious or memorable. In the poem, we see the speaker looking at an old picture of her mother's childhood days. A happy memory that her mother had lived as a young girl moves her to remember her deceased mother fondly. A mother's role is incomparable in each of our lives. Through this poem, the speaker pays a very nostalgic tribute to her mother. Before we begin with the poem, let us discuss a little bit about our poet. Shirley Toulson was born in the year 1924 in England. She has served as an editor of multiple magazines. Her major works are Celtic and Celtic Year. Some of her other works include The Drovers, Roads of Wales, and The Drovers' Roads of South Wales. Let us now begin with the poem. A Photograph by Shirley Toulson. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so, all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. In this poem, the narrator looks at an old childhood picture of her mother and her two cousins. They had gone to the sea beach for some fun and enjoyment. The picture was framed by a cardboard and not any sturdy material. Thus, we see how it alludes to how fragile life and its moments are. An allusion is a brief or indirect reference to something using something else. The speaker's mother was around 12 years old, and both of her cousins had held on to either of her hands for safety and security. It is ironic how the mother who had once protected her cousins from danger could not be protected against death. This is a reminder of how inevitable or unavoidable death is. The poet's mother's uncle had taken the photograph of the three girls. It was an old photograph, taken years before the speaker had been born. The only thing which had remained constant was the sea in the background, which had washed their feet while they had stood for the photograph. The sea, which is usually a literary symbol for change, is the only thing which has remained constant over the ages. Thus, we see the contrast between the permanent state of nature and the temporariness of life. The last line of the stanza has two poetic devices, alliteration and transferred epithet, in the same phrase, which is terribly transient feet. An alliteration is the repetition of the same letter or sound at the beginning of words in close succession. A transferred epithet is a type of poetic device in which an adjective or other modifier is applied to something which it does not literally refer to. In this instance, feet are not transient. It is human life which is transient or momentary. Thus, what we see here is the transfer of the adjective which describes the noun life to another noun, the feet. Let us read the next stanza. Some 20-30 years later, she'd laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she'd say. And look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter, both wry with the labored ease of loss. 20 or 30 years later, when the speaker's mother was to look back at the photo, she would laugh at how they were dressed for the beach, along with her cousins, Betty and Dolly. The speaker sadly reminisces that the sea holiday was a part of her mother's past which cannot be revived. And along with it, her mother's laughter was forever a matter of the past too. Both her and her mother's past memories were beautiful, but those are now painful to recall as they cannot be relived. Notice the oxymoron used in the last line of the stanza. Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which two words with opposite meanings are used together in conjunction. Here, the terms labored and ease, though contrary in meaning, have been used in conjunction with each other to describe the nature of the loss and the way people get used to them in a manner both difficult and easy. Let us read the last stanza. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as the girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It's silence silences. The speaker says that now her mother has been dead for 12 years. Her loss has been immense, and there are no words which the speaker can use to describe it. The last line ends in a personification, where the event of her mother's death has been given the human quality of being able to make somebody silent. With that, we come to the end of this sad and nostalgic poem. All of us have lost or will lose our dear ones someday in life. It is especially sad when we lose our parents, as they are the pillars on which we build our lives. However, death is the unavoidable destination that a person has to reach someday. With that, we come to the end of today's video lesson. See you next in our recap video.